Hello and welcome back to the Young Entrepreneur's Journey podcast. I'm so excited today to present to you the wonderful Derek Moneyberg. And so the first question I'd like to ask you is, what originally got you onto your entrepreneurial journey?
I was interested in entrepreneurship since I was a child, and I had at age 7, I'd be walking dogs and cutting grass and raking leaves and shoveling snow and so on, cleaning cars and just anything for a little extra money. I really liked that idea of doing something productive and making something. And when other kids are like playing video games, I was never interested in video games so much. I was quite good at Tetris for a moment, and then I thought, why the hell am I spending hours doing this when you could spend hours doing something productive like learning something or earning money? So I had that in my head very, very early in life. And when I was 10, I had 4 paper routes, and I got paid for one. And I didn't do any paper routes. I just outsourced the paper routes.
Yeah.
And I'd get 75% of the money would go to the person who did it, and 25% of the money would go to me. And I thought that was pretty good. And that was a very reliable system. That was a much more reliable system than when a normal person has a paper route, and then they're sick, or some little something comes up and they don't want to do the thing.
Yeah.
So I thought that's rather pathetic. And we had very high customer satisfaction. I very seldom ever delivered a paper, and people were very happy with me. And it just kind of went from there. I never thought that it was never my utopia to sit in an office and do normal upper middle class people work. It was never my utopia to do that. I really enjoyed travel. You like travel. I really enjoyed travel. I really liked that adventure of going places, doing things, and it sounds almost cliche, but going places, doing things, and meeting interesting people. And how do I spend my life though? It's that's literally what I do every week. We're in a different city. Sometimes a couple major cities per week. We have fun little side adventures here and there. I have great friends, and it's really quite an amazing social network all around the world. And we go help people solve problems. We get paid quite well for that. And then you meet a fantastic social network that I always think the largest payoff is, some of it is that happiness of having high quality people around, which I think is very emotionally fulfilling for me, because I didn't really have those type of structures as a kid.
Yeah.
So I find that very emotionally fulfilling. But also you get a great financial payoff from that when you have interesting people all around the world that are above average in education, above average in productivity, and they're living their own life at a high level, you accidentally make more money this way.
Yeah.
You accidentally, if you want to say it that way, make more money that way, and have a hell of a lot more fun than some clown in an office,
Yeah. I mean, that's something that you talk about a lot, is screening. And I think some people might not know what that is, but I personally am a very strong believer in screening out the wrong people out of your life and making sure that you only spend time around the right people. Like, I only spend time with people who have a growth mindset. I don't want to spend time with anyone who doesn't have a growth mindset. And you've managed to build this lifestyle for yourself where you have really high quality people around you. You're very strict about the kinds of people that you let into your life. Would you like to talk a bit about that?
Just a good summary statement is you can't help someone who doesn't want to help themselves. All that is a leech to your time, and if you don't value your time, you don't value your life. Your life is a series or an accumulation of moments, and the gravest sin for young people or people of any age is, but particularly young people have an even stronger bias to discounting their time or discounting the value of the opportunity cost of what they could be doing with their time.
Yeah.
And people squander their lives in all sorts of foolish ways. But the earlier a person could learn that and modify that behavior and be like, no, actually I'm going to be dead sooner than I'd like. And what the hell would I like to do between now and then? And then just be serious about living your life that way.
Yeah.
Inherent with that sort of a mindset or that sort of a thought would be that, well, you can't spend time with people that don't even want to help themselves. I want to spend zero time with, I call them bums and losers. I say it shamelessly. I want to spend zero time with bums, zero time with losers. So they're not going to do anything. They're just going to waste your time.
Yeah.
They're just going to waste your life. And if you spend time with those people, you internalize, bum or loser philosophies instead of spending time with other people that are, above average education, above average in motivation. Inherent with that would come an above average income and and a lot of freedom to do whatever you want, whatever that might be for the individual.
Yeah.
I think money, we'll inevitably end up talking about money some. And, money just buys you the freedom to spend your time how you want to spend it. Money buys you the great luxury, 2 great luxuries. Money gives you the great luxury to not spend time with people that you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
And it gives you the great luxury to solve logistical problems that, you can go where you want and eat what you want and do the things that you want to do. And it just solves those little logistical problems that, poor people don't get to solve because they weren't thinking about it preemptively and proactively to create a life like that.
Yeah.
I like to make fun of people that don't have, a decent amount of money, whatever that is for them. I don't need to be a multi-billionaire. I don't have that in my head. I'd be very disappointed if somehow accidentally I couldn't find $100 million or more. I feel I've made so much progress down that path that certainly I will.
Yeah.
But, I grew up poor as fuck. And I just think it's a lifestyle choice. Like, $1 million in a first world country or €1 million or £1 million, that's a lifestyle choice. $1 billion requires a bit of luck, perhaps.
Yeah.
$1 million is a lifestyle choice. You don't have to be brilliant. You don't have to be at Cambridge. You don't have to be at Chicago. You don't have to have a fancy degree somewhere. $1 million is a lifestyle choice. And a person that woke up and worked a bit more every day, worked a bit smarter, worked a bit harder, the natural outcome, if you knew what to do and you knew how to do it, and you just made a bit of progress every day and held yourself accountable to those goals, the natural outcome would be success. This is not a difficult concept.
Yeah.
A far below average intellectual is able to comprehend that and could implement it if they chose to.
Yeah. Okay. So what you're saying is that it's a lifestyle choice because people make choices like watching television, like spending time with the wrong people, like not taking themselves seriously or not building good habits. Yeah. And then if they just did that consistently on a regular basis, then the natural outcome would be success and a lot of money.
I mean, again, yes, I 100% agree. And, for the people who say, a lot of money. There's a subset of idiots in society that say, I'd rather be happy than rich. Yeah. Well, my father had a plaque above his desk when I was a kid. And I wish I knew where this thing was today. I'd pay $10,000 immediately if I could have the same, that plaque, that one. It said, money may not buy happiness, but it will certainly make misery much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's something beautiful about that. I had that idea in my head very early, and there's something beautiful about this. Well, these things are not mutually exclusive. Oh, I could be happy or rich. Well, no, that's a poor person had that idea.
Yeah.
A poor person had that idea, not a rich person, okay? And, if you think about it this way, if like again, the money is a freedom. Money buys you the freedom to go where you want, to do what you want, to avoid losers, to spend time with more people that you'd like to spend time with. It also affords you the freedom that, someday somebody you care about, a friend, a family member, your lover, somebody you care about is going to need you for something. And, you got to make that decision now. You make a decision today. Do I want to be well prepared that when sometime in the future, someone that I care about a lot needs me, and I'd have the opportunity if I did the right things now, it'd be just easy to say yes, whatever happened.
Yeah.
They have a medical problem, they had an accident and they can't pay a bill, they need a new goddamn liver, you need to buy one from a third world country. You'd be well prepared to pay for that.
For sure.
Or you could fuck off and, do not much. You could hang out with losers, you could play more video games. I love making fun of weed smokers. Some people smoke weed and they're productive. 90% of them smoke weed and they're total bums. I don't see a whole lot of high performers, by the way, smoking. I don't think Michael Jordan was smoking a lot of weed while he's winning 6 NBA championships.
Highly unlikely.
Seems unlikely.
Yeah.
I don't think, he had 10 coaches. He had 10.
Yeah.
When he was already the best basketball player, probably of all time. I think, hardly arguable, best basketball player of all time in his prime.
Yeah. Maybe
still today. He had 10 coaches when he was already the best. I don't think he had a weed coach. Yeah. I never heard that story. I don't believe that's true.
For sure. Yeah, so. You talk a lot about having the right mentor. You talk a lot about mentorship. Why is it so important to get a mentor?
Because you're too fucking stupid to do it by yourself. It doesn't matter what your degree is in. It doesn't matter how long you spend in school. I spent 9 years in universities. I learned some stuff. It was great. Time well spent.
Yeah.
Time well spent. Most of my professors weren't rich. I had 2 professors that were, one was a multi-billionaire, one was a billionaire at the time, now a multi-billionaire. I had several professors that had, 100 million plus net worth in business school. If you hang out with people like that and you hear the stories of the people that they've been spending time with and how they've been spending their time and how they made that happen, you just innately get some models in your head of like, oh, I could do that too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just another human.
It shows you the possibility.
It's just another human. It's a human that engaged in some behaviors and took some correct action. They had a goal in mind or an outcome in mind, and they're like, well, let's move a bit closer towards that.
For sure.
And you do that a bit every day. If you could do it by yourself, people ask me things like, Derek, what book do you recommend? I said, I don't recommend books. I really don't. And yes, I read a lot of books. I really nowadays it's Audible. I consume a tremendous number of books on Audible because I travel constantly, and I'm always listening to a book on a jet. That's fine. Books are fine. If books alone were going to give you the secret to making tremendous fortunes, then librarians would be like the world's first billionaires, trillionaires, wouldn't they? Wouldn't librarians be filthy rich if books alone?
Yeah.
It'd be some nerdy, mousy-looking person in a library that would have all the money if the book.
Sitting on her cash pile.
For a lot of people, the book is a procrastination technique. It's like, how can I put another piece of knowledge? How can I trick my brain into think that I'm doing something productive? While procrastinating, doing the shit that would actually provide me a fantastic result. A book is what you should do in your downtime when you can't take action at your fullest level in that moment. Well, that's a good time to listen to a book or read a book. That's a great thing to do in your spare time. But a book is a hell of a lot better mentor than a video game or just hanging out with somebody.
Yeah.
Just whoever. I don't want to hang out with just whoever.
It's like an in-between level.
That's terrible. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. You're either engaging in a behavior that's going to help you have a better outcome or a worse outcome. And the failure points are, it's the 10,000 times a day that you make those little micro decisions of like, am I going to go do the thing that I know that I'm supposed to do, or I'm going to engage in some creative procrastination and rationalization to not do the thing that I know that would provide me the best outcome.
Yeah.
And nobody's perfect. You're not going to have the right answer 10,000 times a day, but a normal person, probably has the wrong answer more than 9,900 times per day.
Yeah.
If you get that down to 9,800, you'd start doing better.
Yeah.
And probably you'd want it down to 9,700 and so on.
For sure.
And pretty soon, if you made some, if you only fucked up half of your day, you could, you might be filthy rich one day. Yeah. You might have the freedom to just do whatever you want.
It's true. No, I think action and implementation is so key. I've spent way too much of my life gathering information, just being like a hoarder of information, and then not actually taking action. And the only points in my life in which I actually started taking action on what I already knew, even if it was 10% of the information, that brought me way bigger results than reading in my bedroom. I think you touched on quite a few things that'd be interesting to unpack. One is, you spent 9 years in university. You went to U Chicago MBA, top university for that. What do you say to the people who decide that they want to drop out of school to become an entrepreneur?
I think they're fucking stupid. I think they're fucking stupid. I have no interns that don't have a bachelor's degree. You can't work for me for free without a bachelor's degree. Most of the people that work with me, one of them went to Ivy League school. Actually, several of them did. He's got a graduate. The guy operating the camera right now has a graduate degree. All right. My other buddy over here is, graduated high school early, graduated college early, highest honors, graduated college at age 20. He's, started traveling with me a couple weeks later. In 2 weeks' time, graduated college, he had his 21st birthday, started traveling with me, and he's been doing that ever since. Wow. And I'm disappointed in the school that he went to, but he's still very ambitious and he's getting shit done,
Yeah.
So when I think about my interns, the first year they come with me, they're going to spend $30,000-$40,000 a year on travel expenses out of their pocket. I don't pay for it. They're going to have $30,000-$40,000 to begin with. They're going to pay for all their own flights. They're going to pay for all their own housing. They're going to pay for every damn thing that we do. And I'm probably not even going to speak to them much for the first 6 months. The other interns are going to manage them, or are going to train them, manage them, and if they don't make it through that first 6 months, that's fine. It was time well spent for me to not be spending time with that person. If they did make it through the first 6 months, well, now we'll start developing a relationship and we'll go do something. Now in year 2, I might buy them Rolex watches. I might buy them all sorts of nice shit. Pay for their flights. Pay for their this. Pay for their that. That's quite expensive. And if they stick around for year 2, it's quite expensive for me.
Yeah.
You could say, well, why don't you just find another one to just free labor for another? Well, no. The whole fucking point was it's just another screening mechanism to a person who's serious could be on that path and we'll go do something together. And if they made an investment to spend time with me like that and to go, to help me accomplish my goals, well, probably I'm going to help them with the same thing,
Yeah.
I want them to win. I want them to do well. But it's in this weird life that I have, we get It's more than 1,000 people a year. It's not an exaggeration to say more than 20 a week on average. It's more than 1,000 people a year tell me, Derek, I want to be your intern. Derek, I want to be your assistant. Now, 850 of them are totally useless. I don't know why they wrote me that message. They're entirely delusional. A lot of the other ones, they're actually doing pretty well. And they send me their resumes. They say, Derek, I got a graduate degree from Harvard in something useless, and I did this and I did that, and I'll cook you dinner and I'll fold your socks. Literally, I'm not even making it up. I'll fold your, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Like a dude sent me. He went to the public policy school at Harvard. He's got a master's degree from there. He wants to fold my stocks. He wants to make me dinner.
He's a great housewife.
He's gonna spot me in the gym. Yeah. Yeah. He's gonna be a great housewife for me. And I'm like, no, I think it's probably a pretty girl somewhere that'll help me with those circumstances. Probably don't need those services from him. But the obvious thing to me is like, well, come work with me first. The number one thing that I think is that as a screening mechanism, that how would somebody tell you that they're compelled to come be your assistant? They're going to come do travel around the world with you and do this and this and that, and they didn't even come on the fucking program that you're going to go help people with.
Yeah.
If they weren't your client first, like it's such an obvious one to me. It's like,
they're not the right person.
No, it's like it really tells me about somebody's judgment that they send me a message like that, and they were never a client on the program that they're going to go help me with and help it. Other people's lives are dependent on those programs. You see a lot of some of my clients.
Yeah.
Other people's lives are dependent on how we execute those programs, and it's going to change the course of their life to be there. Mm-hmm. And some fucking numbnuts is going to tell me that they're the most qualified person for it when they weren't a client first themselves. You think how extraordinarily stupid that is.
Yeah, it's pretty mad. I mean, another thing that you talk about as well is on the screening front, of course, you don't want the wrong friends, you don't want the wrong business partners, you don't want the wrong romantic sexual partners, but you also don't want the wrong client.
No.
I think that's an interesting thing.
No, it'll ruin your life.
Yeah.
No, it'll ruin your reputation. It'll ruin your business. You don't want the wrong client. Mm-hmm. Think about this. I was just having this chat with one of my assistants in the gym today, and I think it's very rational. I think it's very reasonable. This is going to sound awful in the beginning, mm-hmm. and then it's going to make sense. So stick around past the awful part, and then it's going to make sense. I think it's very reasonable to be agnostic about, who is your romantic partner? Who are your clients? Who are your friends? Who are your business partners? It's like, I don't give a shit who these people are. I want them to have fantastic results. I care very much about the results, but do I care? Do I care who it is that's is most useful and valuable in my life, and that we have the most compatibility that I could be extraordinarily useful and valuable in their life?
Yeah.
Do I care what accent that person has? Would I care what country they were born in? Mm. Why would I care?
Yeah.
Why would I care what their accent is? Why would I care what they look like? And I'm not saying anything politically correct. I'm not politically correct at all. The point is I wouldn't care if they were orange. I wouldn't care if they were purple. If I never seen a creature like that, and I wouldn't care if they were a Martian. Mm. If a Martian appeared and we had great compatibility, had similar goals and similar values, and we woke up every day and chipped away at that and had a fun time while we were doing it together, wouldn't that be a great companion?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you love to have a magic Martian that would just like your soulmate?
Yeah. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
So I think of it, back to exactly what we just talked about with the assistants or interns. Is like, I don't care who it is. The path is really clear. To me, the path is extremely clear. It's like, well, you would be a client first, and we have some natural connection there. And a lot of people come on multiple programs with me, and we get to know each other over a period of time. And then, I help them with certain things. I help them advance whatever their specific goals might be in a business relationship or in their relationships with other people, whether that's their significant others or business partners or friends, whatever. How do we help them be a better communicator? How do we help them manage their time better? How do we help them accomplish whatever their specific goals are?
Yeah.
And if in that process, you learn if you have that compatibility and the right rhythm or the right situation together, that you'd be extraordinarily useful to each other.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care what country they're from, male or female, etc. Couldn't care less. So I think it's like, well, a person gets to self-select for that role. That you're going to wake up and engage in a series of behaviors that would make you qualified that another person, like myself or like you or, a number of your audience, that someone like that would be like, damn, I'd like to spend more time with someone like this.
Yeah.
That'd be a fantastic business partner. What could I do for them? How could I contribute to them?
Yeah. And this is an interesting thing to touch on. Why is it so important for you to help the right people accomplish their goals?
There's only so much room in the top 1%.
Yeah.
You know, it's 99% of the people don't get to be in the top 1%. It's a self-selection. Right? If you waste time with somebody at the 70th percentile, now if they're young and they're at the 70th percentile in something, but they're serious about doing better, probably they can. If they're engaging in the right behaviors. You know, if you're young and you were in the 30th percentile and you were serious about doing better, probably you can if you start engaging in the right behaviors.
Yeah.
Right? But you can't help somebody that doesn't want to help themselves. The person who's wherever they're at in the spectrum, that's, you know, just aloof about it. They want a magic pill. They want something to be done for them instead of, you know, developing that game plan, thinking through, you know, well, what are my values? Of what value are my values?
Yeah.
Should I value these things over other things? Should I scrap half of the things that I've been thinking in my life and find some superior models that would lead to better outcomes, that would lead to a lot more long-term happiness? Those would be useful questions. So back to, you know, that specific question is like, I just don't care who it is. It's like, you know who I want to spend my time with? I want to spend, you know, in my romantic life, I want to spend time with the woman who's going to contribute the most, and we're going to have the most fun together. She would appreciate the gifts that I have to offer her. I would appreciate who she is and how she is and our time together. We just have fun and get shit done. You know, we're not going to have it extremely productive. I'd like to work with my guys. You know, I'd like to work with my business team. And, you know, my primary relationship with a woman is going to be, we're going to have fun adventures. We're going to talk about plenty of business. She's going to hear me talk incessantly about, you know, various business stuff or psychology stuff, because that's all I fucking think about.
Yeah.
You know, so she's going to hear about that, and she's going to have a good knowledge about those things herself, so we can have an interesting conversation on those topics.
Yeah.
You know, I want the type of woman who's, you know, she's on her way to graduate school, or she's in graduate school, or she went to graduate school, generally for business. Several of my girlfriends, you know, it's business degree, one after another. But, you know, it's not going to be useful if she wants to work 80 hours, 100 hours a week. You know, I'm going to go work 100 hours a week. Both of us aren't going to do that. It's not going to work out, you know. But, you know, I'd like to be able to talk with her, have mutual understanding. She's going to be productive. She's going to contribute. It's going to be great. With my guy friends, it's like, I don't care which one. Whoever we'd have the most fun together. Who should I hang out with? Who should my guy friends be? Whoever we'd be most productive and have fun together.
Yeah.
I don't care what he looks like. Couldn't care what his accent's from again. Couldn't care less. Wouldn't care if it's a Martian.
Yeah.
I wish I had a new cool Martian friend.
Yeah. Well,
clients, same thing. This is a specific one you asked. Is like, with the clients, you know, I just want the people that are most serious and productive. And when a person their brain is engaged, they don't have to be a fucking genius, but a person whose brain is engaged and they want something and they're coachable, they're willing to follow instruction, so that person's going to have great success. I can really help them. And, you know, what are they going to do when I help them with something? Well, they're going to go talk about it. Yeah. And I might have other clients that are like them, and they're going to be successful too.
Yeah.
All right? When you got somebody that doesn't want to do anything, that thinks they're a victim, that thinks they should have everything already, well, they're not going to do anything. It's like simple thing to think about here is just the Pareto principle. It's like, you know, you're going to make 80% of money from 20% of your clients. And, you know, you should spend a lot of your time getting rid of the other 80% of the clients. They're like, oh, I'd like to. Oh, it'd be a fun experience. Yeah, no, we get together to do serious shit.
Yeah.
We get together to do serious shit. If they're not that type of person, they shouldn't come. They can go be a failure by themselves. They don't need my help to be a failure.
Yeah, that's true. I think another thing that I want to touch on that you mentioned before is, so you talked about how money buys you two things: freedom from the wrong people and freedom to buy you happiness, or to not buy you happiness, but buy a certain lifestyle that you enjoy, perhaps. And so a lot of people go around making money and they think, oh, I need to take this finance position, I need to become a high-flying lawyer, I need to become a high-flying neurosurgeon, and they trade a lot of their time, and maybe it's something that they don't really enjoy.
Mm-hmm. A person that's spending their life doing something that they're miserable doing, that doesn't sound like a successful outcome to me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that you or I would define success as, you know, here's a person who made a lot of money and hated their life. Mm. You know, the point of the money is to provide you more freedom. The whole point of getting the money is to provide you more freedom to, you know, to spend more of your time doing the things that you would like to do instead of doing some fake ass shit that you have to pretend that you like to do, you know?
Yeah.
That's the whole point. And, you know, the groups of people that you mentioned, nothing wrong with those people. You know, it's better. Society pays more respect, and I think rightfully so, to any of those professions that you mentioned than just some person, you know, just some bum.
Yeah, totally.
All right. But, you know, there's a lot of people are happier You're very interested in entrepreneurship, and you're thinking about things right at your age. You're smart. Your brain's engaged. So it's one thing to have an IQ, but I bet there's plenty of homeless people that were born with a high IQ and they didn't do shit with it.
Yeah.
You know, one thing to have an high IQ, but you have that, and that's great. But you're also conscientious, and you think, well, what else could I do? What could I do better? How else could I make something happen? What else could I do? So you're very engaged. Like, I don't have any doubt that you're gonna. It doesn't have to be some extraordinary number. You don't need to be the richest person. The richest person is not necessarily the happiest person, but you should have enough money to live the sort of life that you would like to live.
Yeah.
Whatever that is for the individual. I'm not, you and I might have different numbers in mind. Some of your viewers might have a different number in mind. That's fine. But if you got to go to the store and look at the price tag, probably you could use a little more money.
Yeah.
Probably it wouldn't hurt,
Yeah.
If you got to go to the store and be concerned about the price tag and say, is that really your long-term goal? Couldn't you do something, if they started at your age, couldn't you do something between, then and a decade or two later that, you could go to Harrods, here we are in London, you could go to Harrods and just buy something if you wanted
I
it.
just feel like it. Yeah.
I went to Harrods yesterday, bought 2 nice jackets, this one and another one, for over $10,000, and it was great.
Nice.
And I didn't think anything of it. It was like, and I'm not bragging about that. I'm just, I'm not bragging about the money. I'm bragging about the freedom that, like, if I go see, if I want to buy a nice snakeskin jacket, I'll buy 2.
Yeah. Because why not?
I'll get the brown one and the black one.
Yeah. I mean, another interesting thing on that point is, at your current net worth, you could technically not ever have to work again.
Since I was 31.
Yeah, so for about a decade, you could have never had to work again if you decided to. But you engage in 100 hours of productivity a week. You work harder than most people I've met. Why is that?
Well, what else would I do?
Yeah.
You built a bunch of momentum, okay? So you went through the trouble to go build your business and go help your friends build their businesses, all right? And then you spent 9 years in universities, which you know how my childhood was. That wasn't it wasn't supposed to be that way necessarily, I'm a high school dropout that later, took my little high school equivalency test, and then went to local community college, and then got admitted to a very, very good regional college, top regional college, and then went to an Ivy League school for grad school.
Yeah.
But it's total misfit childhood, total disaster, total train wreck of a family. Okay. Now, what the hell else would you want to do if you grew up in those sort of circumstances and you went and turned that around? I don't know. It's fun to keep going.
Yeah.
What would I do with my time if I
enjoy
wasn't doing it? Would I be on the fucking beach?
Yeah.
I'd be laying on a beach, getting cirrhosis of the liver, drinking, and skin cancer from lying in the sun. What would be more fun?
Yeah.
So I don't know what would be more fun. Like, I'd like to hang out with other people that are, intelligent, motivated. I'm not the type of person that wants to raise children. To me, what would be fun? How would, that nurturing part of my personality, what are we going to do with that? It's not going to be raising kids. I don't have a dog. I don't have a goldfish. I do have some houseplants. You water the houseplant, you go leave for a month. If it dies before you come back, you throw it in the trash, or you replace it with a different houseplant.
Yeah.
So that nurturing part of my personality, beyond my great care for those houseplants, I'd like to help somebody else that had problems like I did, or their own version of problems.
Yeah.
But it's got to be somebody that's serious.
Okay.
Fine, whatever the problem is, that's great. We solve people's problems, is what we do.
Yeah.
But if they're not serious about solving their own problem, you don't want that client.
Yeah.
They're going to make you look bad. They can be a failure by themselves. They don't need your help or my help to do that.
Yeah.
You got to find somebody that wants to do something. They have that internal motivation of wherever you're at, they will make it a bit better. And I just find that immensely fulfilling. If I can help somebody else accomplish their goals, you don't get paid shit in life because you want something. You get paid because you help people accomplish their goals. Mm-hmm. You help people solve problems. If you can't solve problems, or if you can't alleviate pain in someone else's life, nobody's going to give you shit.
Yeah. In a way, it's selfish because, one, they're going to be so grateful that you're going to have it come back to you. And two, you get the warm, fuzzy feeling inside of like, ooh, I helped a person.
I am selfish. I don't even believe in altruism. You know who talks about altruism is the biggest liars in the world. The biggest liars in the world. They tend to be involved in religion or politics. I'm entirely selfish. And I recommend, I wouldn't trust anybody telling me about altruism, but that selfishness is a bad thing.
Why is that?
They're probably full of shit. You have somebody who is knowingly or unknowingly trying to manipulate you to their agenda. And somebody's telling you, oh, but you got to be more this, or oh, you got to be more that. It's like, why? If that agenda, whatever it might be, was inherently useful to you or I, why do they need to convince or persuade you to behave that way? you shouldn't take a lot of convincing or persuading. If it was inherently in your best interest, it wouldn't take convincing or persuading to do it. Just be like, you know what, that makes sense. I'm going to do more of that. I don't think there's anything wrong with selfishness. Milton Friedman, said, famous from U Chicago's econ department. No free lunch. The invisible hand in the economy that allows the transference of resources, allows the creation of tremendous wealth. Yeah. Where all over the world, where you had free market economies that allowed people to selfishly build corporations, to selfishly solve. What does a business do? A business helps someone solve a problem, or you're out of business. If your business is not catering to the needs of others and helping people alleviate, pain, suffering, frustration, you don't have a business. You're going to have a bankrupt shell company. You're going to have nothing.
Yeah.
You could be the CEO of 100 businesses like that, and you're going to have exactly $0 in your bank account.
Yeah. There's no point for existing. It
doesn't. Where would the world be without a corporation? Where would the world be if not for those selfish, evil business people, evil as the press might say, if not for those selfish people pursuing their interests to help others and be well compensated for it, there would be no first world country.
Yeah.
There would be no first world country on earth. It's the best thing that ever happened in human history was a corporation and individuals building structures to help other people to live a better life, have more abundance, more resources, find those economies of scale. So, Apple can make your cell phone way better than me or you could make it ourselves.
Yeah.
Can you make a better cell phone than Apple can?
I wish I could, but I can't. But then again, I wouldn't want to.
I'm so happy to pay $1,000 for my phone.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to pay $1,000 or more for a phone, so I don't have to make one myself out of sticks and sand.
Yeah.
So that's a corporation that created that. Think of the consumer surplus made there. If that iPhone cost $20,000 instead of $1,000, I'd be so happy to have. I paid $20,000 for the phone.
Yeah.
So how much convenience does that add to my life? I have a supercomputer in my pocket here. That when I'm on a jet 38,000 feet in the sky, I can take my supercomputer out of my pocket and book travel and learn stuff and listen to an audiobook all at the same time.
It's like magic.
It is. It's a fucking magic wand.
Like magic.
It's a magic wand. It's amazing.
Yeah.
People are very ungrateful for the resources that we have today.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many things that I think you should be grateful for, that people can be grateful for. And I think a lot of people who don't really have a sort of opportunity-seeking mindset, or people who just get really, really stuck in their heads, they forget to be grateful for the things that they have in their life, whether it's a bed to sleep in, food to eat, great parents perhaps, a supercomputer in their pocket. Mm-hmm. How important is that?
If you're not grateful for what you have, you're not going to get any more. Mm-hmm. I could leave it there or I could expand, but if you're not grateful for the things that are going well in your life, do you really deserve more good shit?
Yeah.
If you're not even happy about the things that you have, do you really deserve more good shit? Would that person be, let's make it more pragmatic, would that person be proactively in that opportunity-seeking mindset that you talk about?
No.
I don't really think so. And if they were, would they be any good at it? Would they be any good at it? Mm-hmm. So, somebody who's nothing's good enough. No matter what I do, is that a recipe for happiness? Nothing's good enough.
Yeah.
The world's not perfect yet. I was born into a world that's not perfect. Fuck everybody that came before me.
Yeah.
There is a pervasive attitude in Western culture like that right now.
It's true.
There are a lot of people, young and middle-aged people, some old people too. There are a lot of young and middle-aged people that are extraordinarily ungrateful. I think amazingly naive about history, amazingly naive, astounding that how little they understand about the sort of life that humans had who came before them and the struggles and obstacles that, 100 years ago, there was no jet airplane. And now I get on a jet airplane more than 100 times a year. And I press a couple buttons on my phone and I order a ticket. I press a couple more buttons on my phone. Somebody comes to my house in a luxury vehicle.
Yeah.
And I step outside. The doorman opens the door for me, puts my luggage in the trunk of a car. I sit in the back seat of the car. I say, turn the radio off. Yeah. I put my headphones in on my iPhone. I listen to something that's going to help me have more resources, more information, more resources available to me. 40 minutes, 60 minutes elapses. I show up at the airport. I go through the priority line, walk right in. Sir, can we kiss your ass, sir? Sir, would you, this is the way to the lounge, sir. They'll kiss your ass more over there, sir. So I go to the lounge. I got my ass kissed at the reception. That's many ass kissings already today. All right. So my doorman kissed my ass. The driver kissed my ass. The check-in people kissed my ass. The lounge people kissed my ass. You know, I show up at the gate agent kisses my ass, I board before anybody.
Yeah.
I'm the first person on the jet, oftentimes the first person off the jet. Okay, I sit down and say, can we get you a drink, sir? Can we get you 2 drinks?
Yeah.
I say, no, just ice water, please. You know, and like, how good do we have it? How good is that?
You're living better than any Renaissance king.
No, it was, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Here we are in Europe again. I think about that. I've been to Hampton Court Palace out here, Henry VIII's old palace, you know, unfortunately stolen from his comrade Wolsey. And, you know, Henry VIII didn't live a better life than I do.
Mm.
You know, Henry VIII didn't live a better life than is available to you.
Yeah.
A normal person, a 50th percentile person. Like, you have air conditioning, you have amazing access to food. We have so many luxuries. They're just available.
Yeah.
You know, Grubhub was from my school. Grubhub came from University of Chicago.
What's that?
Grubhub is a food ordering service, something like Uber Eats. Do they have that in the UK here?
Yeah, we have that.
Okay, Grubhub, same type of thing, came first. You know, multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah.
You press a couple buttons, the food shows up at your door. It's amazing. You know, that's King Henry didn't have that.
Mm.
King Henry didn't have the access to food, the access to health. He died in his 50s. Late 50s, I think. 57's the anchor in my mind. That might be wrong. But late 50s. So, you know, King Henry didn't have access to medical care like we do. He didn't have a fucking jet airplane. He didn't have things like Uber. He didn't have any, you know, he had a horse and carriage.
Yeah.
You know, and if you go to the what's it called? If you go to the Tower of London over here, you can see his armor with a peculiarly large bulge right here in his armor. Do you know that?
No, I didn't.
No, it's good. You can see his armor, like Henry VIII's real armor.
Yeah.
It's over here at the Tower of London.
Yeah.
And when you go through the White Tower, the big block in the building, like the most iconic building over here, they have like the armory exhibit. Mm-hmm. And they have Henry's armor from like 500 years ago, with the, you know, which was like, you know, made for him. And then there's a very large bulge that could, you know, fit a small melon or a very large grapefruit, perhaps. Wow. It's quite a spectacle. I recommend you check it out sometime.
I can't wait. Yeah, I mean, even things as small as water, like the fact that I can turn on a tap or like push a button or move a lever and water comes out, whereas in several countries nowadays, and, you know, back in the day before we had all of this engineering systems and the plumbing, you had to go hike miles to collect water and then you'll spill it all on the way back. There's even things as small as having the water.
My grandparents they had an outhouse. They'd have to go outside and, you know, in any weather, you'd have to go outside and you know, sit on a wooden plank and, you know, use the toilet into a pit in your yard. And, you know, that's a few decades ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brazil, 200 million people there. You know, very, very few people have hot water. They have water, it's all cold. You know, there's less than 1% of people have hot water in their home in Brazil. They only have it in the shower. You know, they wouldn't have it in other areas in the house.
Yeah.
You go to Africa, people are running around. You know, they wish they had you know, the equivalence of, you know, a few pennies to buy a little pouch of fresh water, a little pouch of water.
Yeah.
Drink out of the pouch. You see those bags split all over they're everywhere, all over the ground. You know, if you don't respect the things that you have, you're just not going to have any more. You have to have an appreciation for what's already going good. And you can't have a positivity mindset if you're in a perpetual state of ingratitude.
Yeah.
So when we talked about selfishness, let's tie those pieces together. You know what I selfishly want to do? I don't want to harm anybody. I don't want to take anything from anybody. You know, I'd selfishly like to have enough libertarian freedom to not be molested or have my life, you know, negatively impacted by others.
Yeah.
You know, I'd selfishly like to help other people accomplish their goals so they could live a better life, because that's how any friendship is formed. If you're not helping your friends do something, you're not going to have very good quality friends.
Why do you say that?
Well, you know, you see a lot of you know, intense camaraderie and bonding between the homeless. Do they make good long-term plans together?
Nope.
Why not?
Because
They have so much in common, though. Would commonalities alone be enough?
Because they have it all in for themselves.
They're not doing it. That's what a real selfish person is.
Yeah.
Selfish doesn't mean Machiavellian. I have fantastic long-term relationships because I selfishly want to invest in my friends. I want to get rid of all the bums and losers that would squander my time.
Yeah.
And I very selfishly, I want to see my friends succeed. If I can help my friends succeed, they're going to help me with something in the future. It doesn't have to be money. They're going to invite me to something cool that they're doing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be money. I don't really even need more money. So I'm gonna go get some more money because I am. But yeah, I'd like to be invited to do something cool with cool people.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you? Isn't that fun?
Who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that gratitude thing. Look, not everybody's in a cheery mood. Not everybody can be as cheery as me, as I like to say.
Yeah.
That gratitude thing, if you made a list of 20 things that you're already grateful for, you might not even done half of them. Half of them might have been a circumstance of your birth. You're born in a nice country. You have a passport that allows you to do cool stuff instead of being confined, etc.
Yeah.
So you happen to be born in a certain time in a certain place, whatever. But little things like the water thing. It's great. Isn't it great to not even be thinking about water? You just have fresh water and you take it for granted.
Yeah.
You go to the faucet, wherever we go, you turn on the faucet and warm water comes out when you want it to.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I got both my hands are working good, my
Yeah.
feet are there. It's the little things like that. I can walk well. I'm strong. I'm tall. I was born into a nice country.
Yeah.
Above average IQ. A lot of things are going good. But wherever you're at, a lot of things were shit in my childhood. You got to go, wherever you're at in life. It's like, well, how can I make it even better? What else could I do? What else could I do? And just having that thought, that you feel happy for the way things are. They could have been much worse, and you just make a little incremental progress every day. Like, what can I do to make things a bit better?
Yeah.
What can I do to contribute to a friend? What can I do to contribute to one of my clients, one of my partners? What can I do to make their life better? That's a great use of surplus energy.
For sure.
If you don't know what to do, it's not time to play a video game or go hang out with a bunch of losers. It'd be a great time to think about, well, how could I contribute more to the people that have done most for me?
Yeah.
Or the people who may well reciprocate. If I could help them in some significant way, they may well reciprocate in some way in the future.
Yeah.
I just spend you said earlier, I have 100 hours of productivity per week, and I try to do at least that. But any time that isn't specifically scheduled for something, I'm just texting a friend. Well, what's going on here? How can I help you with that?
Yeah.
What's going good? What sucks? How do we fix it?
Yeah.
I'm just spending that time thinking about investing in those relationships.
For sure.
You get an amazing return on that.
Yeah, it's so important.
I'm sorry, but I didn't mean to interrupt, but if you want to call that selfishness, okay, call it selfishness.
Yeah.
None of my friends would be offended, none of my friends would be offended if I say, I'm a very selfish person.
Yeah.
And I'd like them to be as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like them to be as well. It gets rid of any kind of trickery and manipulation, and it really opens things up as for win-win. It's like, how can we help each other? How can we help? And that doesn't mean, the biggest value is not created in a moment. The biggest value is, two or more people working together over a period of time and experiencing synergies between themselves,
Yeah.
There might be things that I could do that'd be extraordinarily useful to you at a low cost to me. Or there might be things that you could help me with that'd be very useful to me at a low economic cost to you.
Yeah.
Time, money, other resources, etc. That's where all the value is created. Is those trade-offs like that? That's where all the economic value is created in the whole goddamn world. And nobody that I know, nobody that I would care to hang out with, would be offended by me saying I'm very selfish. And if anybody that I would spend time with, I would selfishly wish to invest in them. I would selfishly wish to make their life better.
Yeah.
So they're going to have more resources. They're going to have a better situation in life, and probably they're going to selfishly invest back in me. And we're going to help each other out with some things. But I'm not worried about the short term. I think about those long-term plays.
Yeah.
You're not going to make a ton of money in an instant. You got to think about those long-term situations.
Yeah, it's very true. Another thing that I think would be very interesting to touch on, very much along those lines, is you've talked a lot in the past about what you do in the evening and in the morning. I'm guessing you don't have a very specific 5-hour-long standardized morning and evening routine, but there is a thing that you do, and I think it'd be cool to share.
I think, every night, and I mean every night since maybe I was 22, 23, no later than 23 when I started doing this. I think I was 22. I always think of what are the 3 things that I need to do tomorrow? What are the 3 most important things? And one is always related to money.
Yeah.
And one is always related to relationships. And one is always, it's whatever is important or seems vital or top of mind at that moment in my life, So I think to myself, well, what's my biggest financial opportunity tomorrow? Which doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to get paid something tomorrow. So what could I do tomorrow that would, at some point in my life would have an expected, the most significant expected economic return, financial return. Okay, what could I do tomorrow that would give me the most financial return? I might not get anything for 20 years, I don't care. But what's the behavior I should be engaging in tomorrow They would give me the most financial abundance over the course of my lifetime. All right? Second one, I think, well, who's the number one, friend or client or somebody, who are some people that I should be making investments in tomorrow? How could I help one of my friends accomplish a goal? How could I help one of my clients accomplish a goal, get something done?
Yeah.
I think in making those type of investments, you get fantastic returns, socially, financially, best returns possible. It's invest in yourself, but then take those resources and invest in other people, and find those mutually beneficial long-term relationships. It's where all the value in the world is created. And then the third thing is just whatever's top of mind. I just spend about 10 minutes thinking about that before I go to bed. It might be 8, it might be 15, but it wouldn't matter. At times in my life when I'd be out and drinking in a club or something, I might have 6 vodka drinks. And you know what I do before I go to bed? That exercise.
Yeah.
I might have a fever and a headache. And you know what I'm gonna do before I go to bed? That.
Yeah.
Every day. I wake up and just spend another, 5 or 10 minutes, a bit briefer in the morning. I don't wake up and jump out of bed. I don't need anything you know what I need to do the first thing? I need to spend 5 or 10 minutes are those still the most, whatever my answers were last night?
Yeah.
Is that still the best path for me today?
Yeah.
Is there a better opportunity? You'd be amazed. I don't understand the neuroscience behind it, but I have talked to 2 doctors in neuroscience, and they both affirmed to me and explained some of it to me. I don't recall the specifics well enough. They did explain to me why your brain makes those connections, and your brain solves problems while you're sleeping. If you can go to bed and you're priming yourself to solve those problems, you're more likely to think about them overnight.
Yeah.
And amazing how for the amount of effort you put into that and the amount of return that you wake up in the morning and you have clarity of your goals and sometimes a better plan than when you went to sleep. You're just like, oh shit, I could do this too.
Yeah.
And then 5-10 minutes you get up, you go to the bathroom and get about your life and go do that stuff.
Yeah, it's true. It's amazing how many biographies or profiles of high-performing people that I've read about that literally do a similar thing. Like they think about, oh, what's my biggest problem? Or they have a problem that they just really can't solve. And then they just think about it before bed and then they go to sleep. And then when they wake up, they just magically have the answer.
If there's a damn shortcut in life, it's that and mentors. Somebody else already solved the problem. You just have to do some research and put yourself in front of the right people.
For sure.
It's called research because somebody else already did the work. When some nerd PhD does research, what do they do? So, somebody else already did the work. They're rediscovering something that Newton or Einstein or somebody else already discovered.
Yeah.
If you could learn the things that were already discovered before you and not squander your time trying to reinvent the wheel, trying to do something that's already been accomplished and well established, what's the best way in the world that you would do that? Why'd you bother to go to one of the top universities in the world instead of just some school, by the way?
Because going to university like that, you're going to get better education. Oh. You're going to meet more high quality people. Oh. And the brand gives you a lot of opportunities.
Oh. Why does the brand mean anything? It's just a brand.
Because it's one of the oldest institutions in the UK and known for its stellar education.
Oh, you mean it's the type of brand name that attracts some of the highest quality professors in the whole world?
That would be a very insightful observation.
Oh, some of the best intellectuals in the whole world congregated there.
Yeah.
Oh, and you chose to go to that school instead of just some school, so you could be around some of the brightest people in the world in the areas that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Oh, shocking. Is that useful? Now that you're there, but maybe it costs a little bit more than just some school.
Yeah. I mean, it costs the same in the UK.
Does it?
Yeah.
I could have gone to school for free, but I could have got an MBA from free at a different school. And instead I paid full tuition and I went to the number 1 school. Yeah. They have a branch here, by the way. I'm not sure if you know that or not.
I didn't.
Yeah, they have a branch here. They used to have a branch in Singapore, but they moved it to Hong Kong. But, I had a client a bit ago. He was in an audience and he says, he's telling me about his, basically some Bitcoin Ponzi scheme thing, And I'm not against Bitcoin, that's fine. Somebody made some money and good for them, But he's talking about, foreign currency and, some trading system, some blah, blah trading system that he picked up on Instagram, some scam shit,
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's, my mentor, blah, 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 who was some, I don't even recall his name, but it was some bizarre somebody that you never heard of, It's like the definition of a scam, okay? And I said, what you're talking about, your these trading systems is you're telling me that my mentors, 2 of whom were Nobel Prize winners, many of them were quite wealthy for various business, things they did in business or things they did in finance. My mentors that taught me, foreign currency exchange, which the guy I took that specific class with was a Harvard PhD and Sloan Scholar and 50 published papers and a
Yeah.
bit of a dull character, by the way. But he's pretty goddamn smart in the area that he was teaching. So my mentors in this area, just like some of yours at your university, that's a different class of person than some nonsense scam or a guy who barely finished high school, never spent a day in college, and he thinks he's going to get rich on some commoditized trading scheme that can't possibly work.
Yeah.
And I think I went to the #2 finance school in my country. There's 416 MBA programs. My school was ranked #1. Their finance program was ranked #2. I don't think that I understand enough about finance and I know a whole lot more than a normal person. But am I smarter than the multi-billionaire hedge fund guys who have vast teams of programmers, PhDs, and teams of 200 programmers making an algorithm to do something precise and perfect? Do I have I'm very gifted at math. I was really quite good at math my whole life. And I developed that. So I had a skill and I really leaned into it and worked on that.
Yeah.
I don't have any mathematical advantage over the 200 Indians programming that algorithm.
Yeah.
I don't. It's such a silly thought that a person who is actually educated in that area couldn't possibly entertain a thought like this.
Yeah.
So the advantages that I have, say in a finance context, it tends to be a behavioral psychology thing. I'm a hell of a lot better psychologist than these PhD nerds with their finance or econ degree. I understand that stuff well. I'm very proficient in those areas. I'm really a fantastic psychologist that can look at those things and understand, well, how are the humans going to behave in various circumstances? That's where the money's going to happen.
How more specifically does deep understanding of psychology give you an advantage?
Well, humans always make emotional decisions.
Yeah.
All of us. The smartest ones. You're still making emotional decisions, and then you rationalize with logic later why that was the right decision. And think of what a human is. Let's take away the word human and let me just describe a creature. Okay. Imagine a creature that can't perceive most things, doesn't understand things like microwave or gamma rays or ultraviolet, etc. Infrared, is utterly aware of most of the things that are objectively happening around it. And then, of the few things that creature can perceive, it sees some things, it hears some things, it has some sense of touch or taste, etc. Of the things that the creature is capable of perceiving, its attention span, its brain, the super smart version of the creature can kind of focus on 1.5 things.
Yeah.
In the moderate version, the 50th percentile version isn't very good at that. Can barely focus on anything.
Yeah.
Okay? And some are hopeless. Okay? So the high-end version of this creature can kind of focus on 1.5 things at a time.
Yeah.
Okay? Of those things that it perceives, it has to miss a lot of other things that are going on around it because its attention is only so much. So it can pay attention to something, kind of see something, taste something, has some experience. Now then, with this limited perceptual ability, because it's only taking in small percentages of this, it tends to misperceive a lot of things. The information gets omitted. Of the information that is perceived, it gets encoded erroneously.
Yeah.
Based on its enculturation, how did it grow up, what sort of language does it speak, what sort of language does it fail to speak, etc. There's a lot of information that's the information gets distorted or filtered, if you will. And then after it missed most stuff, couldn't perceive most what it could perceive, only focused on a narrow bit of that, misperceived most of that, encoded it erroneously, stored it in memory. And then you have the memory decays or gets distorted over time as well.
Yeah.
And if I told you that these creatures are called a human and they build things like jet airplanes and skyscrapers, it's like that's astounding.
Yeah.
It's amazing that a creature that's like that is capable of having the medical advancements and the scientific advancements that we enjoy.
Yeah.
So that creature it needs a little repetition before something really sinks in. And it doesn't just learn something like that. It needs a bit of repetition before something really sinks in, before you can get its little attention, and it can kind of squint and focus on it and be like, oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Maybe you could do things different. Maybe I could change my lifestyle and have different outcomes later. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a human. That's what a human is. The smarter ones are able to do that. Now, some of the dumber ones, they prefer their ego more than they prefer their actual results or outcome. Mm-hmm. They'd rather have a strong ego than strong outcomes.
What does that mean?
Well, what is the ego? Your ego, and I'm not one of these woo-woo guys, that, but your ego is something. It's a psychological mechanism that basically tells you that you're fantastic the way that you are. You're already the hero of the universe. You've done everything. Everything's good. Everything's good the way it is.
Yeah.
You're already the hero of the universe. Nothing more to change. Nothing more to be improved upon. And you could tell yourself that story, but a person that's full of ego and think that they're already brilliant, they know everything, there's nothing more to learn. A person's not going to learn much more, are they?
Yeah.
I found it was much more useful to turn up at university or when speaking with other good quality people, much more useful to put your ego aside. Well, what could I learn here? What could I learn from this person? How might I make myself more educated and useful? That's all educated means. How can I make myself more useful by learning something from this person?
Yeah.
And if you think you know everything, then you're just not open-minded to that. You're just like, oh, everything's good already. Everything's good already. So it seems to me the people that are most productive in society, they tend to prefer their outcomes more than their ego. They're like, there's a place of curiosity. What you said earlier, there's a place of humility. There's a place of gratitude, a place of curiosity in their mind.
Yeah.
There's you're just smart enough to know that you're really not that important in the grand scheme of space and time. You're like, well, all right, in the little bit of time that I have here, how do I have a fun adventure?
Yeah.
How do I make myself useful to have the best possible adventure? And if you're not contributing to others, you're going to be doing nothing. You're going to be left out of that adventure.
Yeah. Some powerful stuff right there. Another interesting thing, sort of on the subject of win-win relationships, I would be remiss to not ask you about negotiation, since you're really well known for striking amazing deals. And you also talk a lot about the idea of, yes, you get what you deserve, as in you put in the work and you get the outcomes, but also you get what you negotiate in life. Sure.
Negotiation is a lifestyle choice again. The negotiation is a lifestyle in itself. That you're not going to be, you're not going to be meek and humble and agreeable in every context, and then magically have the best shit that the world has to offer.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be thoughtful about your outcomes. I mentioned these jackets earlier. I did pay half price for the jackets.
Yeah.
They were 30% off. I got 50% off.
How did you do that?
Because I bought 2 of them. And I explained to them, I'm half a Jew. Literally.
Yeah.
I said, I'm half a Jew. I said, I can't pay you. He said, well, they're only 30% off. I said, I can't buy any. I said, I could buy 2 for 50% off, or I could buy 0 for... He said, well, we could take 35% off. So I don't need any. I said, sir, let's not waste your time. Your time is valuable. Let's not waste your time.
Yeah.
Do you want to sell me 2 jackets for 50% off? He said, well, I can't, blah, blah. Is there somebody who can? He said, well, I'd have to make a phone call. I said, now we're getting somewhere. Let's make sure that you and I are on the same page. Would you like to sell me those 2 jackets for 50% off?
Yeah.
Is that good for your interests? He's like, well, I can't. I just can't approve that. I'm like, all right, let's get to that phone call then. Make that phone call straight away so we don't waste another moment of either of our lives. And if they come back and say 49%, just tell them I'm not interested. There's not going to be a second phone call.
No.
Right? And then he makes a phone call, and he's happy to report back to me. See, I got the 50% off approved. I said, that's great. Now box those up.
Yeah.
Right? And that was a $10,000. It was more than a $10,000 transaction for him. I have to convert from pounds to dollars. Right? But I was also equally happy to walk away, and I wouldn't mind having the extra money in my pocket. I got a cool jacket. It's soft. It's fun. But I'd be happy to have the money in my pocket. If he came back and said 49.5%, I would have been happy to just leave the store.
Yeah.
No need to even talk about it, And he knew that.
Yeah.
He knew that. And if it's not credible, that credibility part's very important. If your counterparty doesn't know, you'd be just happy enough to get on with your life, yeah. Then he's got to come back and tell me 35 or 40 or something. It's how much time do you want to waste? So I just had to say that clearly to him, One good example. Just last week, I had a friend. He's with me in D.C. And he's quite a high-level attorney. I can't talk about the specific nuances of exactly what he does, but he's quite a high-level attorney. And he's negotiating, very large settlements of, 8 figures, sometimes over $1 billion, 9-figure settlements, or has had cases that went to trial, billion-dollar judgments. He was telling me of a story. I don't want to say the numbers for his privacy, but he was telling me of a story. It was 7-figure settlement where the day before the trial, there was a pre-trial hearing, the day before a trial is supposed to start, and just this month, he's having a conversation with his counterparty. He's like, what would it take to settle this?
Yeah.
They're picking the jury. Trial's going to start tomorrow. Jury's in. What would it take to settle this? And he told him a number that he said that was double what any settlement in that state's history ever had.
Wow.
And he said, if you come back and offer me 95% of that, I'm going to say no. So just don't bother. Mm-hmm. You know, and he just said that in a credible way because he's an ass kicker. He's a real brand name by himself. He's very accomplished in his area. So they know that about him. He's very credible, is the point that I was just making. They know he's not scared to go to trial. He's not worried, they know he doesn't need the money. It doesn't even matter for his personal finances. He has so much money already. It doesn't even matter for his personal finances if he wins or loses at trial. Yeah. He's happy to be sleep deprived and torment himself for another half a month to go through this trial experience and roll the dice and see if the jury wants to hand him a large sum of money or not. Yeah. And the person who's coming to him saying, what would it take to settle this? Is that person, are they firmly solid in their case? Would they be asking that question if they felt good about the situation?
Probably not.
I don't think they'd be asking for a settlement if they were confident about their situation.
Yeah.
So there's at least a risk mitigation strategy going on there. All right. So anyway, he says, the next day that he gets a call back, and he said, I had a talk with my people, and we're going to take your offer. Mm-hmm. They don't try to negotiate a penny different. They're just like, we're going to accept your offer. Yeah. And they get themselves out of that trial. Yeah. And he just doubled the largest settlement in the history of that state. Double. Wow. Because he's a subject matter expert in his area. He's very competent. He has a reputation for that. He behaved that way for a period of time. That's what a reputation is. There's a lot of advantages to that. There's a lot of advantages to behaving that way. And a person, if you're not willing to negotiate for more, you're going to have to settle for less. If you're not capable to negotiate for more, you're going to have to settle for less.
Why is it important to negotiate the little things?
Oh, I love negotiating little tiny things. I know what you're baiting me for. If you can't negotiate for instance, when I go to Germany and they don't want to give me a bottle of water, they want to sell me a bottle of water, they don't want to give me free tap water. Yeah. I mean, if I can't negotiate some water from a German, if I can't negotiate, say when you're in a taxi on occasion, in a miserable circumstance when you're in a taxi instead of an Uber, if you're incapable of negotiating when the taxi guy, when you give them some money and they don't want to give you your change back, if you're not capable of negotiating your correct change back, yeah. If you couldn't get some free water, and let's take a note, like water is a substance so abundant on Earth that we humans shit in it. That's how much water is around, okay? That's what we think about fresh water. All right, so if you can't negotiate some free water, I mean, are you really going to negotiate, could you really negotiate that settlement that I just talked about? Could you really negotiate a good deal on a couple jackets? You're not going to negotiate anything, Yeah. You want that person negotiating for, multi-million-dollar outcomes in your life when they couldn't get some free water from a German? Yeah, no. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's an insane thought. So, and then back to the main topic that you would want me to share, I imagine, or the main bullet point is that, negotiation is a lifestyle. If you're not capable of negotiating for those little things, you're not going to be well prepared to negotiate for the bigger things, are you? Sure. It's really a key thing. Women, one of the main reasons that some highly qualified women are lower paid than their male counterparts with a similar capability, similar education, similar background, is women don't like to negotiate as much. Mm. It's one of the main reasons of legitimate pay disparity of high quality, highly talented woman versus equally high quality, highly talented man. The men are more willing, as a population, the men are more willing to tolerate social pressure and negotiate more. And that's a real tragedy. That's really something that you could lead the way on, being who you are and how you are, that you could help other young women with that to negotiate, to get, quite literally what they're really worth. For people that are deserved, not some, there's, you're just supposed to get more money because you're a girl. Yeah, bullshit. But there's a subset of them that are highly talented, like you would be, that they are being underpaid primarily because they didn't negotiate for as much as they could have. Yeah,
it's true. There's a lot of interesting literature on that, and it's a propensity to be more agreeable, mm-hmm. for sure. It's a propensity of having the social pressure. You feel like you're in danger a lot of the time, when half of the population is bigger and stronger than you. But yeah, it's a very, very interesting thing. And I think there are a lot of valuable women out there who are seriously underestimating their potential, underestimating the things that they could do, underestimating their current worth as well. Some powerful stuff right there. So I think the last question that I want to ask you is, we've talked about a lot of very interesting things. what would you say are the 3 key truths or some like 3 key bullet points about the entrepreneurial journey that you'd like to leave a young entrepreneurial audience with today?
You can't help someone that doesn't want to help themselves. Don't waste your time with the wrong people. Don't waste any time with the wrong people. When you find what could be the right people, that screening is very important that you brought up. Is like you have to find someone that's that's motivated, that they want it. If you have to convince someone or persuade someone to do something, they probably didn't really want it. Probably somebody else would be delighted to fill that place instead.
Yeah.
I think that, again, what we said about partners, whether it's your life partner, your romantic lover, your best friends, your business partner, it's like that should be an organic relationship. If you had to convince or persuade somebody to do something, probably somebody else would have been. Either you're not offering enough value, or somebody else would appreciate what you are offering tremendously more, and it wouldn't require that convincing or persuading.
Yeah.
Second thought is, you're the CEO of your life, whether you want to be or not. Nobody's more responsible for your outcomes than you are. And if you're not taking responsibility for your outcomes, you're going to have shit outcomes compared to what you could have had. And you might have an employer, but I would never call your employer your boss. So you are the boss of your life. Fine to have an employer. Most people have an employer. Nothing wrong with that. Not everybody's supposed to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody wants to go down that path.
For sure.
Not everybody wants to front load their life with a lot of work and a lot of frustration on the front end, so you could have ultimate freedom on the back end, and probably fail a few times and feel embarrassed and humiliated along the way. Most people aren't made for that.
Yeah.
Most people aren't. But so nothing wrong with having a job, but you're still the CEO of your life. So fine to have a job, but you're the boss. You might have an employer, but ultimately you have to make the decisions. What's best for you? Is your time with your employer the best use of your time, or should be allocating your resources and talents elsewhere? And if you are a quality, talented person, you're not going to have a hard time finding a different opportunity somewhere else.
Sure.
Third main thought I'd say is that what you said about mentors. If you're trying to figure it out by yourself, you're fucked. You're done. And one of the main things relating that gratitude, humility, and success together is kind of a theme of our conversation, is that you need to be smart enough to realize that you're too dumb to figure everything out by yourself. It's not what a human is. You might be a well above average human, but a human is not the sort of creature that it just figures everything out easily by itself. Is over generation and millennia, we made things as good as we have them right now. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to make your own phone. You don't have to build a jet by yourself in your fucking yard. All these things are here for you. But I'll take that note though. I was like, oh, somebody did these things for me. Somebody else learned things. Somebody else knows some things about the world that I don't know. Perhaps in the areas that I'm most interested in, perhaps in the areas that I wish to excel in, maybe I should find the people that are most talented and that could help me the most with that to accomplish my goals. And that's what university is. That's why you go to a top university. That's why I took the trouble to go to a top university. That's also where you go find mentors. That's what I help my clients with every week. Is how do we find the real shortcuts? What are the best practices, behaviors that a person would have to engage in to get past a lot of pain and struggle and frustration and have the best possible outcomes for themselves in the shortest time possible.
Yeah.
So if you're wasting time with the wrong people, if you're not grateful and on point for the things that are going well, and if you're not finding the best mentors that could help create real shortcuts and just hyper growth in your path, I think you're going to have very substandard outcomes compared to what was available to you.
That's some really powerful stuff. Thank you, Derek. You should be taking some notes right now. Now is your chance to plug. Anything you'd like to plug? And
buy all my shit.
Buy one, get one free.
Let me say that different. You can see my website, moneyberg.com, where you see the programs that I offer and things that I specifically help people with. Also, check out my social media channels. You see me on YouTube, you see me on IG. All the information will be on the screen here for you. So join me there, follow me, and I'm happy to help you accomplish your goals if you're one of those serious people.
Awesome. I'll put all of that stuff in the show notes. And thank you for your time, Derek.
Welcome. Pleasure.
Cheers.